Good morning.
Cold feet again. I love how you're wearing the fight like hell t-shirt with Crowder's face, even though he's not willing to fight like hell himself. I'm here to fight like hell on his behalf, all right?
And even made out while both of them were in drag, all under the pretense of making fun of trans people. And not to mention, there's also this video.
Oh, shit. Give me that milk. Oh, give me that milk. Won't you cut?
Now, Stephen...
Like, my dude. Come on. Come on. What are we doing here? How are you owning the libs? If I don't get an erection, the libs are owned.
Crowder chose to post that video to his public Twitter account on his own volition. I'm not joking about this. Now, I couldn't find the original, so he might have deleted the tweet, but that is a video of him with his own employee. And it's funny how all of his comedy skits involve him.
Oh no, I'm not king shaming. Hey, if you want to do what you just saw in that video, or if what you saw in that video, if it wasn't Steven Crowder, if you replace, like, you know, your dreamboats du jour or whatever you want, and you're like, that's fucking hot. Hey, please, mashallah, go with Christ. Do you, all that kind of stuff. But if that's what you're into, and then if you saw video footage of two people doing that and you put it on your show and you're like, these are degenerate groomers and child abusers, look at them, look at this guy in assless chaps whipping this man in a cow costume, this is what the gays are trying to do to society, this is what the gays are doing. Like, well, yeah, you're a monster again. Oh, we said no homo afterwards. I missed that part. Didn't know. Yeah,
and his employees.
If you didn't know that, like, the rules still apply from the 1990s. If you just add at the very end, if you're like, wow, man, nice dick. Yeah, fucking girthy motherfucker. No homo. I'm just saying it would be really fun to play with a little bit, but not in a gay way. You know, just boys being boys kind of shit.
In a sexual manner, right? I mean, it's a bit of a tell, is it not? Now, if that's the kind of stuff that Steven Crowder was sharing publicly, we don't even have to imagine how much worse it probably was behind the scenes. And
Tim Pool said Crowder has to pay $25,000 in child support that his ex-wife uses to pay lawyers to go after him. He has to fund his own destruction. How fucked is U.S. divorce court? To which Lauren Southern replies, yes, he's launched extraordinary litigious lawsuits against her and her family that she cannot afford because she quit her job to be a SAHM. He also went full custody of the kids, but thankfully she was awarded some funds to prevent herself from becoming homeless and having her children taken. If you understood how much he's spending on lawyers, you'd know she's spending every cent of that defending herself. Should stay-at-home wives have their children taken away from them and left homeless if their husband's extremely wealthy, or should they be given a sliver of money their husband is spending on lawyers to defend themselves? To which Tim replies, Crowder is rich, therefore he has to fund his legal opponent, and if Crowder was poor, the argument that because Steven has more money he's required to pay his legal opponent is too communist for me. Anytime you sue anyone, it's a war of cash. This isn't unique. So yeah, clearly civil law understander Tim Pool has logged on.
With Crowder went public saying he was being legally abused because of a non-disparagement and non-disclosure agreement and needed your help. So far, he's raised $72,000 with some very serious accusations against Steven Crowder. Now, the latest news, Louder with Crowder has filed a lawsuit accusing Jared Monroe and Hillary Crowder of an extortion scheme. And I got to say, it does not look good for Jared and Hillary Crowder.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I could spend the next 27 minutes, but yeah, here's the side that Tim Pool's taken.
Notably, just right off the bat, Steven Crowder's ex-wife claimed that she is in need of work and not doing so well financially. But according to court documents, Steven Crowder's been ordered to pay her $25,000 per month for the last 2 years. So something doesn't seem to add up.
I mean, we already kind of went through the whole him battling Lauren Southern on this. His view is communism. It's communism. He got a communism, apparently.
Now, I don't know what Hillary Crowder, Steven's ex-wife, how she would respond to those reports. But I do think this is a very interesting story right now, considering, well, Steven Crowder's trending, and I've dealt with some legal issues in the past. And, you know, this is big news in independent media. I'm not one to typically dive into these drama stories.
What? Oh, sorry. Is this just like a rare fucking exception? Yeah, this is one of the few times I feel I do need to talk about this, something I don't know anything about, but here we go.
And typically I avoid them because I believe it's infinitely more important to talk about things like the bridge collapse or World War III, and those are things I actually care about. But that being said, I can't deny it. I have a personal bias in this that two things. First, my personal.
Basically, he's saying out loud that he's trying to basically start another civil war to sell his prepper buckets, while at the same time, you know, spreading all the anti-woke conspiracy theories that you can get your hands on, right? Why did the bridge collapse? Was it DEI, wokeness? Who knows? Let's just say it, though.
Bias is I've dealt with legal issues in the past, and I really want to understand how this stuff happens because I've had crazy stuff happen to me here at Timcast. I don't know who's right or who's wrong, Steven Crowder or Jared or Hillary Crowder. None of that matters. But
it kind of does a bit, especially if you're talking about something in which you're like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be reporting on drama. Don't normally do this, you know, don't look at my fucking 5,000 videos on Dylan Mulvaney or Bud Light, for example, but don't normally talk about any kind of culture war drama related stuff. I am going to talk about this one. And yeah, let's see who in fact is or is not right. But that doesn't matter at all. One of his, like, what, 5 channels, and just like type in Dylan Mulvaney is like, for the man who does not cover drama or anything like that. Okay, well, that doesn't count, though. That doesn't count.
And primarily, my personal interest in the story, I give you this segment. Now, the other day, we saw this fundraiser, GoFundMe. Monroe Family Legal Fund, free Jared Monroe, currently $72,857 raised. And, you know, I got to be honest, it really bums me out to see this. Not
Just to be clear, okay, Jared, his co-host, he was his co-host who suffered allegedly abuse under the hands of Steven Crowder for years, then decided after his wife was pregnant that he wanted to leave because he was seeing what was going on. He didn't feel comfortable there. He didn't want to work there anymore, so he just wanted to leave the company. In so doing, because Steven Crowder thinks of himself as some kind of like mafia boss or something, he was like, you can't do that, and I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to make sure you don't work in media in any capacity. You're going to have like a 2-year window in which you're not allowed to work for any other competing media company. I'm going to say it's from an NDA clause. That's what it's going to be. But like, that's not the purpose of an NDA clause. You're not supposed to sign an NDA clause to try and hide the dark secrets of your boss who may have been sexually abusing you for years or sexually abusing his other employees. The NDAs are supposed to protect proprietary information that your company may have developed or you may have helped develop in order to not have you then teach your competitors when you leave the company how that stuff works. Like if you spend millions and millions and millions of dollars making some proprietary AI, for example, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I'm not going to be coding for this company anymore, but I am going to go work for a competing company, say Meta or Alphabet or something like that. Are you going to go to that competing company and teach them all the trade secrets that you developed or helped develop and be like, oh yeah, so this is how it's done, this is how we made it? No, they want to stop you from doing that. They'll make you sign a non-disclosure agreement. It's not be like, I put my balls on you, I don't want you telling anyone about that. That's not how this thing works.
Not that Jared shouldn't be allowed to raise money, but that there are many people donating lots of money saying, I did not know Crowder was this bad. You don't know Crowder is bad. You don't know that Jared is bad. It's a legal dispute where everyone's got their perspective on it. And it may be that there are two individuals who are actually both good people who are at an impasse and both view themselves as morally right. This is typical. The issue is not that Jared raised money, it's that many people are throwing Crowder under the bus without actually knowing what's happening. And a lot of people are, I feel like a lot of people are jumping the gun and making assumptions about who they think is right on this one. But let's read the news from scnr.com. Exclusive. Louder with Crowder files lawsuit accusing Jared Monroe and Hillary Crowder of extortion scheme. I just don't want Steven Crowder anywhere near those kids, Jared Mettello, also known as Jared Monroe, said in a text message to Hillary Crowder. Was it a text message or an email? Louder with Crowder LLC.
And by the way, there's been this really like kind of gross thing that's been happening. Hillary Crowder basically posted something that, you know, she was saying, hey, by the way, I'm a single mother. I obviously would like to, you know, just spend all day taking care of my children. Unfortunately, I'm not financially able to do so. And it's at this time that I'm going to ask, is there anyone that would be willing to hire someone, preferably to be able to work from home so I can still take care of the kids. But while doing so, you know, I got some love. There was an outpouring of people, and apparently she ended up finding, you know, that position as a result of it. But to try and now inject this entire thing with some conspiracy that, like, well, I mean, if she's getting $25,000 a month from Crowder, What does she need money for? And why does she need a job? Why isn't she taking care of the kids? All of the speculation based on like, okay, are we aware of what the money is for? Are we aware if she's being paid on a regular basis? Is Steven Crowder sending her $25,000 a month? Is she then having to take that money and directly hand it over to her own lawyers to prevent, getting sued into oblivion from Steven Crowder, who has shown himself to be exceptionally litigious in this entire regard? Surprise! Cold Feet Crowder is not the one addressing it. Because of course, yeah, so Steven Crowder is going to get on camera and talk about this for 36 minutes. Just get one of my employees to do it for me.
Good morning.
Cold feet again. I love how you're fucking wearing the Fight Like Hell t-shirt with Crowder's face, even though he's not willing to fight like hell himself. I'm here to fight like hell on his behalf, all right?
I had been scheduled to host the show today for about a week, and the topics that we were going to discuss were...
Interesting. Weird timing.
What you would expect in any Louder with Crowder show. Talking about some news, make some jokes, maybe poorly. But unfortunately, that's no longer the case today. Well before any video that was released, we were going to do this show this way. I'll get to why Steven's not here in just a minute, but it was planned from a week.
I mean, you've said that almost, 3 times now, so it definitely feels planned. So I was definitely scheduled to host today, at least a week ago. Yeah, for a week. So we were just going to do, a regular show. And unfortunately, again, this was just planned. There's going to be a statement made. And there's a reason why Steven's not here, okay? We're getting to it.
A week ago, not from yesterday. I just want to say off the top that none of this had to happen. None of it. Didn't have to be this way at all. We didn't choose this. It was chosen for us. In fact,
sorry, I just realized that I have to correct myself when I'm wrong. And unfortunately, my Chiron is factually incorrect. I'll change it here. There we go. We care about facts in this part of the
demonstrated plan.
Oh.
What is that plan? To assimilate damaging PR assets and wage a negative publicity campaign against Steven. I'll show you the quotes.
Wait. I mean, yeah, if they're going to go with conspiracy, why not? It plays well. It does good numbers. Of course, the whole thing is always just to take Steven Crowder down, most likely because he's the only one telling the truth or something, right? That's usually where the shit goes. It's the Russell Brand fucking playbook. Everyone does this shit. The stories that came out after Steven Crowder had initially done this entire dumpster fire, hey, I'm going to be on the Daily Wire. They're offering me a bunch of money. No, I'm not. Here's my secret recordings because I'm going to fuck them over. And then everyone's like, Jesus Christ, did you just give the Daily Wire a moral win here? Because technically, yeah, I mean, the offer you were given was absurd. Absurd, I say. Honestly, how much is like mainstream CNN or even Fox News host paid? I don't think it's $50 million. You run a racist YouTube show. Like, again, it's just baffling to the common man to hear this kind of an offer and then be like, so wait, what? You were saying that this is akin to slavery and that they were trying to rip you off and they're in cahoots with big tech? Wild. Then, of course, you see that his numbers are actually just fucking in free fall. I would plug Jose's video on Rumble's numbers as to does Rumble cook numbers, and effectively, I mean, based on what Jose does very easily, just as one person, doesn't even have to, you don't need an entire data center team to do this. It does kind of seem like their minimum requirements to count their views is absurd. And so, like, yeah, you could say that his numbers on Rumble are still kind of comparable to his YouTube numbers, but they're dramatically inflated. That's one other aspect of this. And now, in addition to that, these stories coming out of Mediaite, for example, these are ex-employees who are coming forward and being like, this was a work environment rife with abuse, rife with sexual abuse, rife with, drugging and other shit. Like the list of stuff that he was accused of, pretty fucked up. But yeah, of course, the whole thing is part of a
I'll show you the text messages. I'll show you everything. The right thing. Taking the hits. Taking the hit pieces. Dealing with all of it. To give people the opportunity to do the right thing. They chose not to. I wonder why Jared decided to release his video yesterday. Just for some backstory, there had been no communication between our attorneys for a couple of weeks, so there was no impetus for it. The document compelling him to give a deposition had already expired on March 15th. So when he released his video yesterday, he asked you to contribute money for a lawsuit that did not exist, unless he's had a lawsuit that he would like to file, which he indicated maybe that was the case. We had not sued Jared. We simply asked Jared to knock it off. I'll get into the timeline of that.
Just if you didn't listen to Jared's video, what they apparently are asking is that he has to provide information of any communications that he's had with friends. And I don't know how far reaching that is, if that includes like basically anyone he's ever talked to or anyone he's ever known, but in relation to his work on Crowder's show. And apparently, you know, give up communication, emails, texts, all that kind of shit.
But Tuesday, March 26th was the day that he chose to release his video. I wonder if it had anything to do with Wednesday, March 27th being the 5th day of mediation between Stephen and Hillary. Why release it the day before mediation? Mediation is a great opportunity for people to come together and resolve their differences peacefully. This is the 5th day. If you want to do some research on how many days it normally goes on during divorces,
this means absolutely nothing. Like, honestly. Very suspicious, is it not? That he would come public about any of this, that he would talk about it, that he would try to fundraise money for legal fees, when in fact we were headed towards mediation. Mediation in which, again, if you don't have powerful lawyers or the money to pay for power lawyers, you could be fucked. But strange.
It's not 5. Here's the timeline. On October 27th, 2023, we filed our original Rule 202 petition that Jared mentioned. Rule 202 petition is basically saying, hey, we're serious. Please knock it off and tell us how far this went. On October 30th, we sent a cease and desist.
I love how he's listing all these things as if they weren't actually aggressively legally attacking Jared in this. As if like, by the way, these things, they're nothing. No, this is all just light kind of stuff. It's what friends do to each other. Send a little cease and desist. You have to schedule a little mediation in front of a judge, all that stuff. None of this is legal per se. It's not the same as being sued. And that's why it's part of the conspiracy.
At that time, October 30th, 2023, all Jared had to do was respond in writing saying that he was going to knock off what he was doing. He was going to stop violating his agreement that he voluntarily entered into.
What was he doing? No one remembered who the fuck this motherfucker was until he put that video out. No one was thinking about Jared. Knock what off? Like,
he chose not to. Legal fees associated with writing us a letter would have been minimal, if any at all. And I have the receipts as to why we sent this to
I'm sorry, what? Your defense of all of this is A, that it's part of maybe some conspiracy because the timing's kind of sus, don't you think? And B, all he had to do was tell us that he was going to stop, you know, doing these really bad things he was doing that definitely were happening
to him in the first place after around 6 years of no communication in this way. December 14th, we had one amendment to our Rule 202 petition, not quite the exhausting of the court as Jared made it seem, that we were trying to bully him with the law. March 15th, that 202 expired. March 26th, Jared releases his video. Jared, like I said, was raising money for a lawsuit that didn't even exist until this morning. It now exists because Jared has shown that he will continue to violate his NDA to be a part of this scheme to assimilate damaging PR assets to put pressure on Stephen in the divorce. I'll show you all the receipts, guys. It's there. He's actively flirted with violations in the past. And now he's
So again, I guess if you have POV syndrome, right? Like Stephen clearly does really aggressively. You do think that the whole world is always conspiring against you. And it's not you who's the weird fucking, you know, molester. It happens to be everyone else who's wrong, you know, Principal Skinner syndrome. And at the end of the day, like now, sorry, Jared is collaborating with Steven Crowder's ex-wife to then team up with the media as part of some cohesive takedown of the entire Steven Crowder empire, which now almost exclusively lives on Rumble.
Involving himself in a private divorce for which he was recruited to leverage the company as part of this long-standing plan. And I'm going to say it over and over again to make sure you guys understand. We've been living with this for the last year and a half. The plan is to assimilate damaging PR assets and wage a negative publicity campaign against Stephen.
You know who's doing that? Stephen. Steven Crowder. Yeah, he's really bad for the entire, I'd say, empire. Maybe the guy should keep his dick in his pants. Just saying. That would probably help a lot more.
Per Hillary's father, here come the receipts. I hate being in this position, guys. It gives me no pleasure to go down this road.
It gives me a lot of pleasure.
I am being forced to go down this road by their actions, to defend this company, to defend the over 30 employees that work for this company. I am not a guy that picks a fight. But if you tell me,
hey, please, I really hope he uses fight like hell at some point. Then we're gonna fight like hell.
By your actions, by ignoring easy off-ramps, easy opportunities to do the right thing, that you are not going to stop coming after me and coming after this company and coming after the employees that work here and that put blood, sweat, and tears into this business. If you tell me my choice is to fight you or let them be taken out, I am absolutely going to step up and fight for them. Every time.
Like hell.
We tried to do this the right way. It's frustrating for me. But you need to know the truth. And that's what's coming out today. All of this information's publicly available.
By the way, this whole thing, if you don't know the deep lore of like the whole Steven Crowder and his ex-employees, he's had multiple co-hosts now come out and speak ill against Steven. Like, there's obviously the horrifying stuff that you all know about, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, the abusive environment, the verbal abuse, and the exposing himself, the potentially making, this is all alleged, but the potentially making his employees actually take drugs and stuff like that. All that super fucked up shit. But then there's also the weird stuff where it's like he would have a button underneath his table that he would push and a light would come on, a yellow light, when he wanted people to be quiet because he wanted to either get the punchline or be able to talk, and then other people were talking over him, so it's like, hey, shut the fuck up, and he had this little like button underneath the thing, stuff like that. It really feels cult-like. Like Steven Crowder just had this ability to basically wrangle his team members, and they do whatever he wants, even if it was like stuff that they were really morally opposed to, stuff where they're like, this is just really weird. Like, I don't want to dress up like a cow, Steven, and then you dress up like a cowboy, but your ass is hanging out, and then you whip me to own the libs. I don't get it. I don't understand. Shit just feels like you're working through some stuff, but he's one of the last true believers. He's one of the people who has been like involved in the show for a very long ass time, is now been upgraded to, being able to host the show when Steven Crowder gets cold feet. And they've even done some weird segments where they'll talk to him, and then he's getting married, and they're like, wow, it's amazing that you found a wife so late in life, and we're really happy for you, but it's a good thing that we helped you out with that kind of stuff, isn't it? And that's just like odd things to kind of say, like, yeah, it's a good thing that you're in this relationship that we've had our hands in. All this weird shit that goes on behind the scenes at Crowder Show.
Court documents, not opinion.
Yeah, sunk cost
fallacy. Not saying I have receipts and not providing them. I'm providing them for you right now. By the way, this is the court filing for Jared. We'll be releasing that so everybody can have access to it. Of course, taking steps to redact personal information because we would never want to dox anyone.
Sure.
Here is Hillary's father in a group text thread to the family. And it's a message that was liked by Hillary. The type of team I want. They understand right-wing media. They are familiar with who Steven is and that world and the things that would destabilize him. Remember that word, destabilize.
This is basically what Tim Pool was using for his own video on the topic.
Fully understand and agree that Hillary's goals and expectations for the outcome of this divorce are reasonable and attainable. Not necessarily according to Texas family law precedent, but by employing a media/Brian Friedman and PR strategy that will significantly threaten this public persona and brand. That's from
2022.
Yes. This has been the plan from the beginning, guys. This is what we have been dealing with behind the scenes and not commenting on.
I'm sorry, what? This is your evidence? Like, you are making grandiose claims. Let's be clear. If there's a mass media conspiracy in which multiple different people are like colluding either with Steven's ex-wife and then media, I suppose, or other media outlets to try and get all these ex-employees to speak shit about Steven Crowder, the proof of that is a single email with redacted bits.
We'll get to Brian Friedman here in just a second, but this is where Jared gets involved. After 6 years of no communication, Jared gets roped into Hillary's plan, gets involved in this plan. February 17th of 2023, and just leave that overlay up for me. Hillary and Jared met in Atlanta to discuss their strategy, and they took this picture. How he changed my mind.
Hey, I have tickets for Aquarium at 2 p.m. We'll pick you all up at the airport. Figured we could take you to check in at your hotel if you want to grab food before getting to the fish. Oh, that's so sweet. Thanks. Perfect. This is Pizzagate tier. I gotta be honest with you. Like, Hillary's emails, then you see them, and then she's like, hey, do you all want to go get pizza? And it's like, well, yeah, that could mean that she wants people to have pizza. It could also be code for pedophile. So maybe that's what she's saying. Hey, do you all want to get pedophile? which I know in and of itself doesn't seem like a lot. But then think about this. She said pizza a few times. Could she be indicating then, right? Like, is this actually a meeting to hang out, or was this a meeting to discuss how they're going to conspire with the mass media in order to take down Steven Crowder as part of a monstrously huge conspiracy? Yeah, that what is aquarium code for? Fish or sleep with the fishes? Ever think about that? Popular expression.
I guess a proposed book that Hillary would like to write.
Yeah, but Crowder's audience really buys into BCA. Well, I guess that would be the whole point. Like, obviously, if you're a Steven Crowder fan right now, you're looking for a bit of an olive branch. Might be a bit of a weird time for you existentially, because yeah, your daddy who has been telling you that the queers are super evil and bad, turns out he may in fact have himself Simone predilections. So that's got to be strange. I have seen a lot of people online being like, holy fuck, is Steven Crowder a degenerate? You know, that kind of stuff. And who's to say? But now you might know that that's not in fact the case. And those sketches were to own the libs. And this whole thing is actually part of a broader conspiracy. So, you know, now you have something to play with.
To apply more pressure to Steven. February 20th. Per Jared's text messages, any scenario where Hillary and I team up is the end of him, meaning Steven. It is his worst nightmare. Watch the real fear enter his eye when Tim asks the question. All been going on behind the scenes. Can you believe the actions of people that are out in public saying they're trying to do the right thing, and yet behind the scenes scheming?
Sorry, where's the scheming? I mean, this is the part I'm missing. Hey, it's nice to meet you. Let's go hang out. I'm excited to go to the aquarium. Yeah, me too. Excited to go see the fish. You got to add more to this. What's aquarium code for? What's fish code for? You know? Jazz this thing up a bit.
To pressure Steven with a negative PR campaign. It's going to be worse in just a minute, guys. Unfortunately, this isn't...
Okay. I hope so, because as of right now, we have nothing.
This isn't a fun day. But it's a day that has to happen where people need to know what's really going on. February 21st, 2023, Jared says this to Hillary. I think there's a scenario where several of us would be willing to attest to all of that. I just don't want him anywhere near those kids. That really, really disturbs me.
I'm gonna again say that kind of feels like very natural sentiments one might have, especially if you'd seen that video that was recorded where he's being very verbally abusive to her, and then he's like, you know, I want you to go put the dog's ear medicine in, even though that can actually potentially harm pregnant women. And then she's like cleaning, and then he's like, I want you to go buy groceries and things, and she's like, can I use the car? He's like, no, I want to use the car. We only have one car because I'm the only one who gets to use it, and weird shit like that. Like, the guy just comes across as an absolute monster in that video. So if I saw that, I would also say the same thing.
Why do this? This was done specifically in order to get more than Hillary would get in court, or that Steven even offered her.
Wait, you're adding an or? Have you not figured out the conspiracy? Before you go live, you got to plot this whole thing out. You can't kind of like wing parts of it. Or
because his offers have been more generous than Hillary would ever get in court, per Hillary. From a text exchange between Hillary.
Right, so I was like, there, you got to make that connection. So why exactly, if this conspiracy theory is to work out, right, there has to be the motive. So why exactly would Jared be doing this? For the money. Ultimately, he thought that he could help Hillary potentially be damaging to Steven, even though all these public things that have come out in the press and everything doesn't net them any money, but it will help the characterization that Steven's kind of a monster, which could help her in the future for a lawsuit insofar as she sues him, and then she can secretly give some of the victory of that lawsuit to Jared. Aha, there we go. Now we got it.
And her mother. Again, all public information, guys. This is...
The financial officer was serious, and the business evaluator of both attorneys agreed to the financial offer was good. $5 million, timestamp, Hillary Clowder. But again, I know you're retracting because you don't want to, get anyone in trouble. But you also got to be a lot more clear. Who is this from? Who is this to? When was this sent? What is the context? In and of it's like when you just do little like random ones, it was like, I mean, if I was to buy into say 60% of all the things you're saying, that's a tough stretch. But let's just say this: I'll grant you 60%. I'm in. I guess just seeing the word 5 mil, maybe it's sussy wussy. It's hard to know exactly what's in response to or what they're talking about. But yeah, here's another one. But when it came to the children's his no offer was all I get from June to July, 2 weeks in August, and a week in the follow-up of North. Well, that's better than what I could get in court. I want freedom than that. Again, if this is in the context of someone getting divorced who is worth tens of millions of dollars, as Steven Crowder is purported to be, doesn't seem completely outrageous. I don't see where the damaging evidence is here.
Part of court filings, not us pulling anything, not us opining. The financial offer was serious, and the business evaluator and both of my attorneys agreed the financial offer was good. And while that's better than I would get in court, I want more freedom than that, referring to, as well, custody of the children.
Right. To whom? Who is she sending? Are you implying that those were letters sent to Jared, that they were having a communication back and forth, and that's since been leaked? And who leaked that, by the way? What was going on? How is there a third party privy? Is this to her lawyer? Is this part of discovery? Is this part of the stuff that you have access to because you are involved in a lawsuit with his ex-wife? Because that would make a lot more sense. That would explain all of this.
Remember that the financial offer was serious, and the business evaluator and both of my attorneys agreed the financial offer was good. Offer was rejected. Why?
So she wasn't satisfied with the settlement officer? That's the damning evidence? Well, it's one piece of the puzzle, okay? Again, there's lots more to go.
Why?
We're only halfway through this video.
Go back to the plan. To assimilate damaging PR assets and wage a negative publicity campaign against Stephen. And then, after doing that, they could make it all go away for Stephen. Per Hillary's father to Hillary and other family members in a group text.
Okay.
The longer the divorce proceedings go on, the worse the outcome for SC.
And again, a lot of this just seems like it's stuff that they obviously have access to as part of, again, discovery. And so, if you want to make that public, that's your own business. The parts are highlighting versus everything else. So this is Hillary to her dad. Hillary's choice of domicile and custody will be an uphill battle, but it's certainly a possible outcome. The longer the divorce proceedings go, the worse the outcome is. An agreement for temporary custody will become a marker and set the standard for permanent custody. Mark is okay if the agreement is reached today and will walk away. The trial may go on for a year if Stephen digs in. Psychological evaluation of Stephen Crowder could be 6 months. During that time, the productive legal work forward, simultaneously developing damaging PR assets could be pursued. Other deliverables up to us, not the legal at the legal time. At the right time, Mark will show the Stephen Crowder the path that will make it go away. The judge will be slapped Stephen down, and issuing a visitation order will be the judge if this goes to trial. Other news, I put the offer on the house for Hillary near her friend. Our offer was cash, $30K over asking. We were outside with several other cash offers. I'm working with the realtor today to try and see if we can find a nice apartment in the same vicinity. Finally, Hillary, I really like your strategy of selling a vision of Stephen Crowder, of you raising the babies that and he is the cool dad who the children have fun with. You might suggest to Mark that this is the vision is the opening theme in the hope of starting off with something both parties agree on. Like, this all seems like very, very standard fucking divorce proceedings. Zero evidence of a mass media conspiracy, but yes, a potentially financially damaging divorce between, again, a very popular conservative internet celebrity who's very wealthy and his ex-wife, who does not have a mass media apparatus like Stephen Crowder does to be able to convince people of who is on whose side, right? So this is just, I don't know what this is from, but just randomly selected paragraph. Developing damaging PR. Okay, so this is from this email. That deliverable is up to us from the legal team. The longer the divorce proceedings go on, the worse it will be for Stephen Crowder. Oh, this is the exact... Wait, why did you put this and then put it again there? I'm so confused. So anyways, this is the exact same letter twice on screen now. I guess different parts are highlighted. So just so you know, parts have been, again, redacted. The same parts. Okay. And yes, this seems plaintiffs that's in the petition. You're airing discovery. That's what's happening right now. You are putting that out for everyone to see, for you to try and, I guess, salvage what bleeding is happening to your audience or base from people being like, holy fuck, Stephen Crowder's super fucked up and weird. This is a let them fight moment. They're all in their own capacities. I'm sure they've all done terrible, horrifying stuff. But yeah, I hope they absolutely destroy every aspect of this fucking empire. Yeah, go for it. Get that bag.
False stuff that we've revealed.
Yeah, not
in
the Mug Club.
Other stories that we are working on right now? No, it belongs to them. Being able to bring in additional people to carry the load here? No, it belongs to them. This is the through line with every single point. And this is something new. Not new to us, but new to you. And I want to tell you this from the perspective of somebody who hates to have to do this. I do not in any way want to be in the position that I am in right now, having to react to people's bad decisions, but I don't have any other choice because it has been made clear by their actions over the last year and a half plus that there is no other way to say, guys, stop what you're doing.
The Steven Crowder divorce drama is exploding on right-wing Twitter today. What we've learned from the court record features a threatening yam sent to Steven Crowder. What? The lawsuit states shortly after defendant received Crowder's personal address, Crowder received a threatening message. Watch it. Fucking watch it. Wow. Written on the yam. The message written on a potato.
Unfortunately, I can't do that today. I hope we can get back to doing that very soon. In fact, we will tomorrow. But I hope we never have to address this kind of stuff again. I hope people understand.
I hope you're going to address why Steven Crowder couldn't be here today. You did promise that at the very start, right? Why is he not fighting like hell? Why do you have to fight like hell on his behalf?
That we're serious. We will defend the people that are here in this company. Let's talk about some things that you know and maybe some things that you don't know. So, one of the things you know, the ring footage, right? Everybody remembers that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my machine just froze.
Going out at all or no?
We're still going out.
All right.
It's just stuck
Okay.
on your camera
Stuck on
right
me.
now.
You know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's where we need to be right now.
Yeah.
Just going to talk you guys through this. Here's what you know. Ring footage that was sent out that tried to...
Well, we could just watch it. Let people judge for themselves.
Boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There is no groceries. I would have to
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it.
By the way, classic abuser stuff. You notice how Steven Crowder in this video is equating people doing work or chores or basically the things he wants with love. Being like, why don't you do the things that I want? Because you don't show me love. When I ask you, clean the house, put on gloves, mop the floor, clean the bathrooms, wash the toilet, all that kind of shit, right? I don't see you doing that.
How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect a man? Yes. How do you man? How do you man receive love and respect? No. How do you man? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not.
then I
taking
will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not about Steven.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
Why do they only have one car? Again, classic abuser behavior, because it gives you the ability to manipulate and control your partner, right? He could afford to have a fleet. He could afford to have a team of people driving them anywhere they want at any given day, at any time. Yeah. Extremely controlling behavior.
The my life being set to the second and you're going, I'll be back when I'm back.
Steven.
You're making it work. The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline and respect.
Steven.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
Hillary,
Steven.
you give up so
Steven,
easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love
Right there, right? It's like, well, I don't ever get love from you, and here's how I want you to express. Here's my love language. Do things that I want when I want them. Don't question it. Be disciplined. You are the wife. I am the husband, all right? Go get my fucking steaks right now, and then give the dog the medicine. Do that, right? Yeah, I don't care that you're pregnant with twins right now. Get out there. No, you can't take the car. You can't take then I'm stuck here. I don't have any ability to go anywhere else, so you can't take the car. It's like, okay, I'll take an Uber. You can't do that either. No.
you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone that's you day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage anymore. I'm going to go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need.
And again, Crowder, the family values fucking crew does not give two fucks about family values, as you can clearly see.
I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not trying.
I love you. Put on some gloves. Put on those gloves and give that dog that medicine right now, even though it could potentially harm our children.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to it. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? I'm good. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take that in.
As the Crowders head inside, Stephen gets angrier and angrier and by his own admission screams, "I will fuck you up," at his pregnant wife Hillary, who then flees their home. And honestly, my dude, what the fuck are you doing? That's why when I was watching this clip, I was like, you know, outside of the abuse, that stuff is absolutely abhorrent and disgusting, but like, what a piece of shit, just sitting there and like, fucking, do things for me, put on the gloves, walk the dog, buy my steaks, yeah, show me you love me. I was like, well, what the fuck are you doing right now? Can you not fucking walk the dog, bro?
Portray Stephen in a very negative light, having an argument with his wife. Stephen admitted he's not a perfect guy. There are definitely faults. Arguments happen. People always say stuff that they wish they could either take back or was taken out of context in arguments. But here's what you don't know. Hillary deleted all of the other footage from that house on the Ring cameras and the Lake residence when a court expressly barred her from doing so. How many hours? Over 2,000 hours. Also, 8,000 hours never even handed over, along with 18 seconds from the doctored video itself. A note, Substack video had small portions that were not even included in the court-issued videos, which means that it came from some other source. You can do the math. This was all a part of the plan that we talked about. To assemble negative PR assets.
Sorry, are you implying that Steven Crowder's only been a piece of shit for 3 minutes of their entire relationship? And that's the 3 minutes that was there? But then every single other like video clip that existed in the history of the totality of their marriage, actually, he was just an incredible husband. Just, you know, the best. The absolute husband of the year.
To wage a PR campaign against Stephen to get him to give more, never enough, more. That's right. All the other Ring footage from multiple cameras in multiple residences has either been actively destroyed or never even handed over in the first place.
Prove it. Provide any evidence to that.
Here's another thing you know.
Oh, you're just moving on. All right. Okay, so just take their word for it.
There are family claims about hardships.
Where's Stephen, by the way? Why are you the one doing all of this, you fucking cowards?
And we're having a problem, I guess, with the overlays right now, so we can't show you exactly, but I will make all of this stuff available on our website. I'll make sure you guys have full access to all of this. It's not us.
Sussy.
This is court documents. This is stuff that has been filed.
Trust us.
Claim hardships. Here's what you don't know. Hillary's getting $25,000 per month from Stephen. Per month. $300,000 a year, no taxes held out of it. In Texas, all divorce-related attorney's fees are paid by the estate. Stephen's the only one actively contributing to the estate right now, so you can do the math there. This is the first time that we know a dime has been spent from Hillary on a lawsuit that isn't coming from the estate, also known as Stephen.
This is like old-timey defense. It's like, hey, did you know that if you have two individuals who are in a union together and one of them is the quote-unquote breadwinner, that if there's going to be a divorce, then maybe the courts are going to look at who exactly had money. And if the other person is then going to have to take care of their children, then yes, are there going to be, like, say, a garnishing of their wages, or should they have to pay things like alimony and child support afterwards? It's the reason a lot of these laws are set up in the first place.
But I don't have any other options. Here's something else you don't know. Hillary hired entertainment superstar lawyer Brian Friedman as part of her PR attack against Stephen. I don't know if you guys remember who Brian Friedman is, but he represented Trevor Bauer's false accuser, releasing images that were doctored. What he knew at the time, what he didn't know, still up for a little bit of debate, but it looks like there was some reason to believe maybe this claim wasn't 100% on the up and up. Trevor's been exonerated. It's been proven that this person lied about all of this. Maybe she even lied to Friedman. Who knows? But Friedman was all too willing to rush out and ruin a man's career that I believe had just signed a $100 million contract to play baseball and subsequently lost.
What does this have to do with anything? Honestly, like not that anything we haven't done so far is not just like pure speculation, but like, you know, I'm just going to say some things out loud and you connect the dots at home.
It's that contract. Still trying to get back into the major leagues, even though he's a well-accomplished pitcher. Should be on a roster somewhere. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that he was proven right. It just matters that the lie was put out there and that the campaign was waged against him. And Friedman represented the same journalist who leaked the Ring video. Here's something else you know. Media hit pieces. We all saw that, right, Tim? Hit pieces coming out against us last year. Seemed like they were planned and orchestrated.
No, it didn't. I mean, sure, from your POV, I'm sure. Yeah, like, oh, wow, this is so wild that all these people who used to work for me all have this kind of like universal experience of me being a really shitty boss and abusive. Oh, so weird they would speak out against me.
Yeah, they went after the other.
One of the claims was that Stephen had revealed his genitalia to people in the office. We talked about that. We addressed all of that.
Here's what they didn't see our Terminator 2
Terminator 2 sketch, or when you have to wear, you know, like really thin garments so that you can be painted gold.
Yeah.
Right? For some of the sketches that we've done. Here's what you don't know. Jared exposed his penis in professional settings to...
Oh, shit. Going on the attack, you know? Hey, Steven Crowder is exposing his penis, allegedly, to his employees. Did you know? So too did Jared. Just penis exposure going all over the place.
Steven, when they were at Wham...
I just want to add, if this is in fact true, by the way, there's a different dynamic here at play. Like, you could have fired him. If this is a position that you're taking, that in fact exposing your penis to other people without their consent in the work environment is wrong, and Steven Crowder is frequently accused of doing this, well, then you could definitely fire one of your employees, right? In the other position, you can tell that there's a bit of a power imbalance when it comes to the boss doing it.
Radio. He would expose himself in a way that only Steven could see, and then for an hour, Steven would have to...
Wait, what? Did he have a little like makeup mirror just like pointed at the exact angle, and then he would like turn his chair just like there and then like look over and it's like, he can see it. I know he can see it. Yeah, only Steven can see the specific angle of which I'm exposing my penis right now.
They're talking to people at the radio station about the business dealings of the show and not break. And
yeah, you know what's funny? Just when I thought this couldn't get more pathetic, it does. Like, so far, conspiratorial nonsense, leaking a whole bunch of fucking divorce proceeding documents. Here's what we learned in Discovery, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, now we're going to make this public. Hopefully this helps out the case, by the way. This is going to do real wonders, I'm sure. I'm guessing right now in the same way that, like, you know, Alex Jones and the opposing legal team was just watching his show every single day and recording everything he said, just being like, oh my God, he won't stop. He won't shut the fuck up. All right, well, yeah, good luck with that one. But now getting to the point where, and you know how everyone's saying that it's like, it's super bad that Steven Crowder just couldn't control himself and just kept flashing his dick? Well, he wasn't the only one. There were others, yes, who too showed their penises, penis eye, and then they were actually secretly showing them at an angle that only Steven Crowder could see. Was that something Steven Crowder was asking them to do? And why was it specifically the Crowder angle? Why is this a thing at all? If this was one of your employees and you're like, hey, by the way, this happened, why didn't you fire them, or at least discipline them, or give them a written warning, or maybe perhaps even call authorities if they're sexually harassing the rest of your staff?
To them, it was funny then and funny now. We're not calling him out for it. We're just saying it seems a bit odd that he was...
So there's nothing wrong, again, with this dynamic where a boss is showing his fucking dick to his staff. Not consensually, not outside of the workplace, not in part of a relationship, which would have its own, you know, moral problems as well as ethical, and probably even some legal ones as well. But no, just the fact that we just had a work environment, it was fucking hilarious. You know, it's just what dudes do. All right, they just hang brain. It's a guy thing. Trust me.
Somebody who participated, maybe even started doing it, and then apparently cried foul about it. Here are some other key facts that I want to bring up. And tell me, do you think these facts seem destabilizing to you?
This whole stream does.
And just first off, just think about that. We want to do things that will destabilize him. We want to put enough pressure on him that he will give us everything that we ask for, and then Mark Scroggins can come in. Their text message guys can come in and show Stephen how to make it all go away.
This is the cult is now, upgrading itself quite a bit in real time, by the way, because this is really only going to appeal to already pretty ardent and loving and supporting Steven Crowder fans who are now going to get real mad, real upset, real angry. Ooh, they're going to take to the social medias on the behalf of Steven Crowder's defense after they hear all this shit. But for everyone else, this is deeply embarrassing and frankly weird as fuck. Weird as fuck. Everything about it. One, Steven Crowder not present, making his co-host do this entire segment instead, wearing the shirt that says "Fight Like Hell." B, we're not done yet, so they could reveal why, in fact, Cold Feet Crowder decided to get cold feet around this whole thing. And then C, we're going to reveal a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening during which was not public now, but it certainly is after this, divorce proceeding between Steven Crowder and his ex-wife. And then now we're going to try and tie Jared to that, because at one point they met each other and went to the aquarium. Think about it. Don't think about it too hard, though. And then we're going to say, hey, by the way, did you know the lawyer that his wife hired happens to be involved in this kind of shady thing that happened with a professional baseball player? Think about it. Again, not too hard. And then, finally, the coup de grace, because it gets weirder, folks. Jared actually exposed himself as well. It wasn't just Steven. No, Steven wasn't the only one flashing brain, okay? Other people did it too, at a specific angle that only Steven could see. And so, what does that tell you?
It's exactly what was in the text message. Let's start with Joe Lewis, Stephen's dog. Hillary tried to have Joe Lewis removed from him. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Falsely claimed.
Wait, no. Okay. I love dogs. Big dog guy. I got Chico in the other room. He's the light of my life. I'd do anything to save him. I jump in front of moving vehicles and stuff like that. What does this have to do with everything that you're being accused of right now? It's also very standard in a divorce proceeding where people try to get custody of the pet afterwards.
That Joe was dangerous, citing the previous owner. The previous owner, let me just say this. That happened while I was in Stephen's office. He got a note saying from Hillary that Joe Lewis was dangerous.
I'm sorry, the dog that Stephen cared so much about that he refused to walk, but he got his pregnant wife with twins to have to do that for him? And would even put in the ear medication that the dog needed, even though putting in that ear medication could be dangerous to his wife and their potential children? That dog? Yeah, it really looked like Stephen loved that dog.
And needed to be removed from the presence of the children. He almost started crying. She was trying to remove everything from his life, to put pressure on him to get more than she would get in court. Thankfully, Stephen was able to
Joe Lewis is broke, therefore is dangerous. Yeah,
contact the previous owner, who signed an affidavit stating that it was not only false, but the exact opposite of what was true in that situation. She also tried to get me to abandon Stephen when she filed for divorce.
God.
You heard me correctly.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Gerald needs to leave Stephen.
Did she ask you to go to the aquarium to look at the fish?
I haven't talked to anybody else about that in any detail. As all of this is going on, and this is not part of what I planned on talking about today, guys, but I need you to understand the level of, I don't even know the right word to say, but the crap that we are having to deal with is probably the most polite thing that I can come up with. He can stop paying me today and it won't change the facts that I have laid out here. And I know exactly what's going to happen. You guys are going to come after me. It's fine. I can handle it.
I don't think most people know who you are. I barely do, and I fucking do this for a living.
But you're not going to address what I've said that's factually true in court documents publicly available because you can't. It's so clear. Tried to take his dog away to destabilize him as part of the plan. Tried to take me away. I now know.
They tried to take me away from Stephen. They tried to separate us. They said we couldn't be besties.
Not everybody likes Stephen. Some for very good reason. He comes off and he says a joke. Fine. You don't like that? Fine. If you want to use it, great reason. You don't like somebody because of a joke. But a lot of people don't like him because he pushes back on evil. And there are a lot of groups out there that don't like to be called out. And they don't like Stephen, and maybe they would try to do him.
He, in probably like 5 to 6 years, is going to reveal, I think, so many bombshells. We're going to learn so much more of what was going on behind the scenes.
Harm. And so to make sure that his family is protected, he goes through great lengths to make sure nobody knows where he lives. Hillary intentionally doxed it. I won't use the exact words. You can see it in the image. But it's evil. Shortly after Jared received Stephen's personal address from Hillary, Stephen received a threatening message. The package came from Smyrna, Georgia. Didn't say who it was from, but we later found out that that is mere miles from where Jared lives. Again, Jared's probably going to say, oh, come on, it was a joke. Okay. It's an unlisted address. Nobody knows where he lives. You didn't say who it was from. You just said, watch it, effing watch it on there. Did it. Have it on tape. Part of public filings. Stephen receives a package at an address that no one is supposed to have.
Oh, this is the potato.
And then wonders, are my children safe? Am I safe? Who leaked this address? How did this get out? How would you feel if the person that you had children with...
Wait, sorry, are you now directly accusing her of intentionally doxing their address to get their kids harmed? Oof. Oh, it's going to be some litigious statements, I got to say.
Your private home address, knowing that the kids would be there during certain times of the week.
Yeah, that's a big accusation.
It's something that I can't even comprehend. Something so reckless. I want to say a couple of things as I wrap this up. NDAs are a normal part of doing business. You sign an NDA voluntarily. Jared signed his voluntarily, and then he breached it.
Hi, buddy.
Didn't have to sign it. Could have left. Could have just left. Could have walked away. Didn't have to sign the exit. He signs it on the way in again. Didn't have to sign that either. Never. He voluntarily signed an agreement and then decided to break it. He also lied to you guys and said that I was asking for every single conversation with his friends and that I was telling him that he couldn't contact his friends. No, that's not true. Look at the Form 202 petition.
By the way, according to Jared's story, and you choose to believe who you want to believe, he wanted to leave. They did not want him to leave the company. And it would look pretty weird just to have your co-host suddenly just disappear without a lot of explanation. So you could make an argument maybe that was part of it. But also just it seems like, Steven Crowder has this obsessive, I have to control every aspect of my own employees and their lives and all that kind of stuff down to really weird details. And so Jared wanted to leave the company. And yes, they said you can leave if you sign this NDA eventually. But the NDA, again, I would assume it puts forth a lot of things that you cannot ask another person to simply like an NDA can't protect you from illegal shit or abuse of your employees. It's not like, okay, just here's the papers, sign them, and now you can never speak of this again, ever.
That we put out there. I told Jared in that petition, basically like, hey, you have to stop talking about the company. The agreement that you made with us. And that can be as simple, like I said earlier, as making sure no address is divulged to where somebody sleeps with their young children. It's common. I'm not restricting your speech, Jared. I simply asked you to honor your agreement that you voluntarily entered into. And you had every opportunity to do the right thing before being sued today. We'll get the lawsuit to you, I promise. And I hate it, man. From the very beginning, I talked to the lawyers about making sure that this cost you as little as possible. You don't know that because you never reached out to me. You just assumed the worst. Assumed that I was bought and paid for by Stephen. I'm bought and paid for by no one. Again, Stephen's friend before.
Aren't you literally his employee? I don't think you're completely unbiased in this. Geeks and Gamers has decided to sound off on this. After seeing the video from Jared Monroe and now hearing Steven Crowder's response, I've taken that wasn't Steven Crowder, but anyways, I've taken a lot of time to process everything and understand it. I can now confidently say I'd rather play Helldivers 2 and also not understand it than listen to any more of this bullshit. Hashtag democracy. As in, I'm taking no position, but I'm going to pretend like I'm taking a position. Yeah, it's the Michael Knowles strategy.
Job, Stephen's friend after this job. I didn't want this to cost you money. I didn't want this to go out and be public for everybody. I did want you to honor your agreement and knock it off. When you refused, I needed to know how far this went. That was it. It would have been the end of it. After 2 hearings that maybe lasted about...
I mean, that's a really nice way of saying that, like, we were basically trying to coerce him through legal proceedings to be able to divulge all of his communication and text messages to potential friends about anything that he talked about any of us, or even assumed to have talked about any of us. Like, hey, I was just trying to make sure, years after leaving, that you were just honoring your agreement. You were being a good boy. And, yeah, if you want to make this into a whole thing, An
hour each. And very minimal work. And a deposition deadline that had expired. You decided to come out and say that we had sued you, which we hadn't. That video makes it very clear that the only way that we can get to a place of understanding of what your agreement was and that you should honor it is for me to have to sue you. I did not want it to be this way. I take no pleasure in it.
You forced my hand to
no
do
matter
the
what
very
the outcome,
thing that you're accusing me of.
I take no pleasure in it. I just want to protect this company and the people that work here.
It sounds like you just want to protect Stephen. Anything to save Stephen.
One thing you also need to know, guys, Hillary is behind this entire plan to assimilate the damaging PR assets and wage a negative.
And this is kind of fucked because when Steven Crowder basically started coming forward about his divorce, there's obviously a pretty big fear that comes from the fact that Steven Crowder has a massive and very, in some cases, far-right and dangerous audience. This enormous online audience, if weaponized to go after someone else, especially someone who he is very mad at, who he was trying to manipulate and control and now is finally sick of it and doesn't want to be in Steven Crowder's life anymore, if they were going to turn this around, as they are now doing, to try and say, hey, by the way, Hillary's not only trying to break up their marriage, take the dog, take the kids away from poor little Stephen, who's just got no money, power, or control in any of this. She's actually part of a conspiracy. That's right, part of a media conspiracy theory to destroy Steven Crowder, the Louder with Crowder, and come after Mug Club, teaming up with a whole bunch of ex-employees who are now making all these statements to various media outlets. This is all part of a broader thing. Hillary is at the core of it all. He has now chosen her, his ex-wife, to be the ultimate enemy of all things Steven Crowder. That's terrifying for Hillary. Like, honestly, just think of this now, that you've got a whole bunch of people, far-right fucking people who are being mind poisoned all the time from hatred and bigotry. Hey, by the way, did you know Bud Light is trying to turn you trans? Did you know the gays are coming after kids? Their groomers are like hearing that all day, every day, a couple hours a day, just watching it, paying for your Mug Club shit. And now it's all of a sudden, you know, yeah, the gays are bad. They're groomers for sure. And also Democrats, libs, super bad. Also groomers. They're all groomers, as are, you know, people who work in Hollywood, the elites, all that kind of shit. All bad. But you know who's the worst? Who's trying to take away Stephen from all of you? Who's trying to take Stephen out of your lives? His ex-wife. His ex-wife Hillary. She's the ultimate evil.
Publicity campaign against Stephen. I'll say it again. That is the plan. And maybe it's because she's taking bad advice. I don't know. All I know is that the actions have been consistent in rejecting very generous offers. More money than Stephen's ever made in his entire life has been offered.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
More.
Really?
Every time.
So more than $50 million.
Every single time. I want to just reiterate all of these lawsuits. All of it. I hate it. I hate every single second of it. It does not give me pleasure. I've said it hopefully enough times for you to understand that I don't like doing this. But if it comes down to defending the company and the employees who pour so much of their lives into it, or staying silent while people repeatedly attack us and violate their agreements with us, then you better believe that I am going to
violate their agreements. There is no such thing as an NDA to protect a sexual molester. Honestly. It's just, it's crazy. All of these ex-employees who left the company because they were disgusted with what Steven Crowder did, they are speaking out about it. Did they not know that they signed sheets that said you can't talk about this? We do not talk about Mug Club.
Fight like hell to defend this company and to defend our ability to communicate with you. And to defend Stephen, as imperfect as he is.
Ooh, we only have a couple minutes left, and you have yet, as you promised at the very start of this, explained why Steven Crowder himself is not giving this super embarrassing speech. Could be because it's very embarrassing and he'd rather his subordinate do it and be on the internet publicly disembarrassing. Could be. I mean, yeah, maybe it's that. Could be the cold feet. Could also play a role.
We're all imperfect. It didn't have to be this way. There's still time to do the right thing. But I guarantee you what's going to happen again. They're going to attack me and not talk about the facts. They're going to continue to try and wage this campaign against Stephen. Jared, you left in August of 2018. We said nothing about you. Move on with your life, man. What in the world are you doing? I don't want this line to keep going, but this lawsuit is the only way I feel like we can get any kind of understanding. I'm sorry that it had to happen this way, but it wasn't something that I chose.
You poor sorry.
Look, I'm sorry for all of you who have to hear this drama. We're not pleased in any way to be a part of drama. Sometimes it happens and we have to defend ourselves, and we don't shy away from that, even though it's drama. Nobody likes it when conservatives are fighting one another. Nobody likes it when...
Oh, I do. This is popcorn of the highest order. You know, gold-plated even.
People are attacking And it's just like a terrible episode of network TV. I hate it too. We want to get back to doing the content that you like, and we will. I appreciate a lot of you standing up and saying, hey, I know.
You know what's good about this, by the way, is that this is certainly accelerating. There's like any chance that this could have slowed down. Like, honestly, one of the plays that they probably would have done is just kind of like, maybe we just ignore this whole thing, right? Like, we don't go forward, don't try to get public facing about it. We just kind of like ignore it, and we just keep doing our segments, and then we could release a statement, maybe something. Steven Crowder unequivocally denies any and all accusations of molesting and or sexually assaulting and or drugging any of his former employees. Steven Crowder denies, trying to extort or abuse his wife, and that would be it. And then they just go on keeping doing stuff. But instead, it's like, we're gonna fight, not like hell. We're gonna fight like what's in the Dante's Inferno tears. This is not the 7th layer. We're looking at layer 1 or 2. This is like we're around gluttony kind of style. So we're gonna fight like gluttony, but we are gonna do something for sure.
These guys, there's got to be more to the story. I hope today you found out there's a lot more to this story, a whole lot more. There's been a campaign going on for the last year and a half plus, where Hillary has been roping people in, people that she hadn't talked to in years and hadn't even really been friends with, to try and damage Steven Crowder and get more than a court would allow. It's time for that to stop.
Oh my God, he's not going to
address it. Today has to be the day that starts to change. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be
Yes! Okay, so we were promised at the start of this that he was going to explain why Steven Crowder was not doing this himself, and in all the nonsense and bullshit of listening to this motherfucker for almost 30 minutes just droll on, there is no revelation. Crowder just got fucking cold feet.
On the show.
Did you not know to cut there? What's going on? It's still going. My wife. Hey, is there a Clint Eastwood segment? Is this like Obama? What's going on here? Oh, that's the end. Oh, you got it. You got there eventually. Chair stream, everybody. We got a chair stream.
Howdy, everybody. I just wanted to let you know that for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can unlock bonus uncensored episodes of Mind Explosions by going to patreon.com/theserfs. Our videos couldn't exist without your support, and all our content is released early to our Patreon subscribers, as well as a ton of extra content you can't get anywhere else. Please like, subscribe, and thumbs up this channel, and if you're feeling extra perky, share it anywhere you think people would like to see or learn from our videos. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We first want to give a shout out to everyone who makes this show possible. This program is produced thanks to the generous support of our Patreon supporters: Anna Loves Riley, Arian McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbar Celine, Jimmy Sombrero, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Poppy, Preston Kroll, Quiet 185, Richard Bomey, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, Travis McClinton, and Words Greenwood, as well as every other person you see on the screen right now. This show would not be possible without them. And if you want to join these wonderful people who make this entire program possible, simply go to patreon.com/theserfs and you can unlock uncensored and bonus episodes and, help us exist.